Hey everybody. I don't I don't think that's my YouTube personality. Uh anyhow, a month ago, the Make WordPress Core newsletter sent out their announcement of the block binding API that was going to show up in WordPress 6.5. And I was pretty excited about that. Excited enough to suddenly put a single YouTube video on a YouTube channel or a YouTube account that I've had forever. Um, So it's here now as of last week, and I wanted to keep that excitement going by providing a tutorial that just covers how to use the blocks that the binding API currently covers, which is image, title, paragraph, and button, and combine them into a just a production ready example of how you could use it. So in this guide, we're going to build a related posts pattern that we can use throughout the site. And we're going to use a custom source. We're going to build a custom source that uses ACF in order to make all that happen. You could do this with normal post meta. I chose ACF because I want to use the relationship field, and it just gives a better out of the box UI for users to pick their posts. So tutorial is going to run pretty fast. Um, Not really taking many breaths in it. So if you want to follow along fully or just use the example that I've created, that is linked down in a repo in the description. And let's not waste any time. You're not here for the makeup tips or the lighting. Let's get going. To get us started, we're going to jump into ACF and create a related posts field. We're going to use the relationship field, and we are going to set it to return only the IDs from the posts that we select. When we create our source, we are going to be targeting specific parts of information within a post, and there's no reason for us to return the whole post object every single time we ping it. Now that we have our field set up, it's time to jump into the functions.php file and set up an init action. We're going to do this with low priority because we want to give advanced custom fields time to completely load because we are going to use its getField function. When you set up your callback for your source, take in the source args and the block parameters for it. We are going to use that block object that it passes to get the post ID for the current page. Up top, we're just going to do some checking to make sure that the two arguments that we expect, which is key and field, have been passed to us. And then we're going to grab the field from ACF using getField. Note that you are not in the loop at the time that you do this, so you're going to have to supply a post ID to ACF to get the field. This would be the same for using standard metadata in WordPress as well. That is inside block context post ID. After that, we are going to feed this into a switch statement. We're going to pull the ID we want out of the array that Advanced Custom Fields handed us. And then we're going to pull the supplied piece of information that we got through the field argument. We're going to use get the permalink, get the excerpt, get the title, and then get the post thumbnail URL. Something to note about replacing the image SRC is the block binding API does not support responsive images right now. You are not able to replace the SRC set on an image. So I recommend setting a lower image size than what you would pull back by default. There's no need to supply a full-size image in a small space. Now that we have our custom field and our custom source set up, it's time to jump into the block editor and get started on that related posts section. I'm only going to use blocks that ship with WordPress core for this example. So I'm going to start out with a group block with a 3-column block inside of it. And then in each one of those columns, I'm going to drop another group that has a heading block, an image block, an excerpt block, and a button block inside of it to create a card. Any other styling? That's completely up to you. Any other things that you want to add to it, go for it. As much fun as it is working in the block editor, this would get super tedious if we are going to add this to multiple posts or if we wanted to include it in a template file. The other thing is we're not going to add our block binding markup inside of the block editor itself. What we will do once we've set up our 3 cards worth of section is go into the code editor, copy the block markup we just created, and then we're going to go into VS Code and we're going to drop it into a pattern file within the theme. And then we'll add our block binding markup there. One final note before we move over to VS Code is if you are not using the block name setting within things like group blocks and column blocks, it's basically like naming everything layer 1 through 100 in Photoshop. Just point it out. All right, blocks composed and markup copied. Head over to your editor and open up a new PHP file in the patterns folder of your theme. Give it the correct pattern metadata and then paste in that block code. It's going to come in as a total mess, pretty much minified. You're going to want to take some time to just pull the individual lines apart so that you can easily add your metadata object to your block comments. The things that you're going to add in here are the image metadata, the title metadata, the excerpt metadata, and the permalink into your buttons. Keep in mind that you are editing the button block and not the buttons block that wraps it. All the steps done, back into WordPress, open up a post, get that block library open, find your new pattern, and drop it into the post. You'll see when you drop it in that the blocks have the block binding icon set on their toolbar, showing that they are bound dynamically or that their data is going to come from somewhere else. Slap some related posts into your ACF field, publish it, and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Hopefully this was helpful, and if you need any help, feel free to ask in the comments below, and I'll do what I can. Thanks, everyone.